science fiction meets pop culture. We're the podcast that covers everything pop culture and beyond the multiverse. Are you ready to get your geek on? Crank up the DeLorean, warm up the proton packs, toss a coin to your Witcher, and deep dive into your favorite plate of chimichangas. This is PopXcast.
listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Here we go!
PopXcast.
I was born in it, molded by it.
PopXcast. No strings on me. Autobots, transform.
Goal here at Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
Here's Johnny. Never had a pet pony.
Hasta la vista, baby.
PopXcast.
Captain's log supplemental.
Negasonic Teenage. What the
I am the one who knocks.
Excelsior it is. Stanley always bringing us in here on PopXcast. Guys, we have a stacked house tonight. The whole team is back. Everybody here tonight got to see and enjoy the Fantastic Four First Steps. And I have been so excited. Austin and I know that we have been talking like a lot in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is riding on this. But before we go into it, though, and of course I'm rocking the Fantastic Four Roosevelt, which is an exclusive Roosevelt. You know, got to Johnny and Sue Storm and all the guys on the front. And but let's do a quick catch up. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat right now. We got Unicorn Rainbows, Darth Bacchus hanging out with us. We got Scotty over there. How is everybody doing in PopX land? Hope you guys are having a great night wherever you may be tuning in from. And just sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and just hang with us for the next hour as we deep dive into all things nerdy and goodness that is coming your way. But so what's new in your world, Jeremy Stoltz Creations?
No,
that I didn't.
No.
No.
Yeah, no.
There's no ums.
No ums. Okay,
no
so
ums.
New in my world would be I get to go and finally start working on getting my medical problems fixed. Tomorrow, 29th, I go in to get everything figured out. So
Good.
We start getting the ball rolling after 4 some odd years.
If you guys don't know this, he was born with 4 stomachs. And,
yes, 4.
It's been quite the conundrum in him trying to deal with it. 4 stomachs and 3 anuses. But it's in the
something doesn't shoot out right.
It's crazy. It looks like a garden hose. It's unreal. You know, a sprinkler system, but with multiple angles. And it's
sounds kind of nice.
It would make for a really good TikTok. But anyway. No, what have you been working on, man? You got. We do want to acknowledge something right off the bat. We were talking before the show, and we realized something. 1 year ago today, tomorrow, July 28th is when we lost our dear sister Lindsay Badger, who was a faithful co-host of PopX, over 120 episodes strong. And we were just looking down. I was like, wait, it's 7/27, and 1 year ago. This weekend, Austin and I were doing PopX, and that's when we found out everything, and it was that was a strange night, brother. That was a strange night, to say the least. But I just want to say, man, we just want to stop and reflect, and we just want to, we're just so thankful and appreciative that Lindsay was such a huge part of our lives and our souls. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we were talking Deadpool, Deadpool and Wolverine.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah, I just looked it up on the on our YouTube channel. It was Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm like, wow, dude, that's crazy. But so you did some kind of cool art piece. It's kind of in your world. You're creating this universe of art characters, but one of your art characters recently became pregnant, right? So
yeah, back in December. And so if you do the math, 9 months later puts us right in the middle of July.
Okay.
And so I went and did a piece where I showed a baby.
Oh, yeah.
And we decided that it's going to be a baby girl, and her name is Lindsay.
Wow, dude.
My goodness.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
But yeah, that's
what a beautiful way
my
to
OC character.
Yeah.
Abby, and
Abby.
she's the one that has the baby. So.
Yep, that's cool. And if you didn't know, Lindsay Badger's real daughter's name is Abby.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't know that.
Wow.
So beautiful work, dude. Are you going to be working on this tonight on your stream over on
I'll be working
Twitchverse?
on some stuff as well. Yeah,
Okay.
once I'm done, I've been steadily working on that. What I've now dubbed the Chaos Coven comic.
The Chaos Coven comic, you are.
Oh, I like that.
That's nice, right there.
Instead of calling it the Drawloween universe, because
Okay.
that's not my copyright.
And awesome. What's new in your world? I know you've been traveling near and far, seeing movie premieres. You've been watching a lot of stuff, doing a lot of reaction videos over the past week and a half, 2 weeks. What's new in your world?
Bro, I went all the way to Atlanta to see Fantastic Four.
You
So
drove to Atlanta for the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That was the closest. What was that, 6 hours?
Yeah, it was. Literally on the dot. It was 6 hours. Now the good thing is, my best buddy Chris lives 2 hours from Atlanta on the way back home.
Okay.
So I actually, when the movie was over, once I walked out and saw that somebody had ran into my car and my car was dented in the movie theater parking lot. Yeah, that happened. I didn't.
Oh.
Horrible.
Sorry, dude. It is Atlanta.
No, yeah, that happened. Yeah, it was Atlanta, so
if
I should've,
anything to your vehicle will happen, it will happen in Atlanta. Trust me.
That's what I'd heard. Even my buddy Chris told me that. I sent him the picture. He said, "Yeah, man, I could have told you that was going to happen."
Yeah,
So-
Atlanta. There you go.
But I drove back. I got to not spend the entire night driving back, which would have absolutely. I was still dead when I got home, but I got to spend the next day with Chris, rave about Fantastic Four, and it was a blast, man.
There you
I'm glad
go.
I did it. Met some cool people in Atlanta, some people that were, had some great conversations with that knew my work, and some people that I knew their work. So it was really cool, man. It
That's
was
awesome.
worth
I love
the trip, except for the car thing.
Except for the car thing. And you obviously have no idea who did it, so that sucks even worse.
No.
Well,
They were.
I'm glad you got to see the movie and hang with some people. I know it's really cool when you get to hang with your creative community, especially people who do the same kind of thing that you do. So
It's so cool.
that's always special. With me, we have been packing. Our house is literally torn apart. If I were to turn the lights on behind me right here on my couch, you would see my suitcase open. We're leaving on Friday for Miami, and we're going to be gone for 8 days. We're going to be sailing away on the MSC World America. We're going to be going to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Ocho Rios, Jamaica, and MSC's private island. So we get back, I think, next Sunday, I believe, whatever the 8th or 9th is.
How far will you be from Fort Myers, Florida? Because that's where I'm going to be here in about 4 days.
I will be in another country. Oh, wait, I mean 4 days?
Close to, yeah, in 4 days. I'll be in Fort Myers in 4 days. How far is that from Orlando?
3 hours.
3 hours? That's not too bad. Yeah, Madison and I, we were looking for a place to go. We were going to go up north. Too expensive. Then we found a great deal at Margaritaville. The somewhat of a resort, and it's a little cheaper where the hurricane hit last year, and so we decided to go to the beach for about 4 or 5 days. So I'll be close to you, man.
That's where Alex was from. She lived in Fort Myers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we were dating.
No way.
I tell you, yeah. Little city right on the border of Fort Myers, Sanibel Island called Cape Coral. She lived right there in Cape Coral, Florida. And all the many years I would fly to Florida and we would date and stuff like that, that's where she lived. That's where I went.
That is
crazy.
Man. That's awesome.
May miss you this trip, though, because we leave like early Friday morning. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about Fantastic Four. Oh, my gosh. I mean, the level of expectation. Did anybody here see it in IMAX?
Oh, yeah.
I did not get a chance.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so we can talk about the countdown to the movie in IMAX, which was like something people seriously, guys, they went all out. They created an insane countdown, a Fantastic Four countdown for the IMAX experience. If you've not seen it in IMAX, you got it. It was filmed for IMAX. Absolutely incredible seeing Galactus on an 80-foot screen. Holy cow. That was insane.
My goodness.
But my level of expectation was really high on this one because I know a lot. And the future of Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it going into Phase 6, if you really even want to delve into the phases, a lot's riding on this particular story. As Kevin Feige has already went on board to say, this is sort of a reboot to where we've come from, but we want to make sure that we kind of reset the plate to where we're going. And so it's been a lot was riding on this. And I was looking at the box office numbers over the weekends, 118 million domestically. Does that sound about right, Austin?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so it's a ballpark. It knocked it out of the ballpark and regenerated a lot of hype for the superhero movies, because I got to be honest, aside from Thunderbolts, we've not had the best Marvel experiences over the past few years. You know, it all started with Quantum Mania, which was just like crap. But, you know, it's been just sitting there in that theater. And I think for me, the opening 10 minutes for me set the pace so much for the movie, because you didn't get the typical backstory. You didn't get the typical introduction into who the Richards family is and who the Storm family is. He's just sorting his clothes on his bed. And it was just amazing. I was like, wow, okay, we're in their world. This is it. Okay. Yeah. But the beautiful thing, I think for me, one of the things that really captured my imagination and my mind was the cinematography. Just those beautiful cityscape shots of this 60s, late 50s, 60s Renaissance retro revival of art styles and the old tube-style TVs that you see in Fallout and all of that kind of like crazy stuff. It was just everywhere, right down to the detail in the Art Deco carpet and wallpaper. Spare no expense, my Jurassic Park plug of the day. Spare no expense. It was just absolutely stunning. And with that, I'm going to go to my blood. Well, yeah, my blood. Austin Burke. Let me get let's talk about the first 30 minutes of the movie, if we can. So what was your thoughts going in? What was your thoughts in the first 10, 15 minutes? Where was your mind going as you were watching all this come to play?
Well, I was super excited. I've been listening to the score on repeat. I've been hyped from the director of WandaVision, because he captured all of those time periods so well in WandaVision, and just so much about the Fantastic Four, like my favorite Marvel Comics heroes. Not on-screen heroes, that's Cap. My favorite Marvel Comics heroes. And as a Fantastic Four comic fan, that montage where we are rolling through their rogues gallery, we are seeing all of the powers on display. We're getting teases of Mole Man. We're getting, Reed fighting the super-powered gorilla, like all
the red
of these
gorillas
crazy,
and all that, yeah.
Dude, how freaking! I never.
And
did you
see the one? I didn't mean to interrupt, but did you see that one big giant sloth-looking beast? That's the Fantastic Four issue #1 cover. They recreated that. I'm like,
straight out of the
Go ahead.
I mean, you talk about a director and writers who wanted to. I mean, every complaint we've ever had about the Fantastic Four movies, they're like, first 10 minutes. Let's get it out of the way. Let's throw in the rogues gallery. Let's throw in the retro futuristic feel. Let's give us a movie that just the essence of what these characters should be. And just the first 30 minutes, we'll get into the rest here in a little bit, but that set the stage and set the tone for a magnificent time period that we were going to explore, but also the structure of the family was on display beautifully. And so I am on record saying this is the best opening for any MCU movie ever. This is my #1 favorite. It's the best I've ever seen. It was perfect for these characters.
That's huge coming from the certified film critic of YouTube. Wow, that. You know what though? I have to echo everything you just said because it's so true. It's relevant. It's the first 15 minutes literally had me from the get-go, and I was like, okay, I'm all in on this thing. Whatever this is, I'm in. And it was great. Jeremy, what?
Yeah.
Run us through what I know. You see more of the technical, like little references and nuances that many people wouldn't. So, what was you thinking of the first 15, 30 minutes of the film? Like,
I got a real feel from the Superman movie, how we were thrown right into the universe. We didn't have to have an origin story, and I got that. Like, as soon as they started showing like the clips of the villains, and I was like, sweet, we're not having to go through all of this stuff again. We've gotten it all. And, we got to see power displays. We got to see this. We got to see what the world thinks of them. And like I said, I got a lot of Superman feel from it, which was good, because having just come out of Superman, and it's weird how they both came out roughly at the same time, but had the same type of opening.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah.
Did either of you two catch the Jack Kirby and Stan Lee reference? Or not Stan Lee reference, appearance, I should say.
Stan Lee had an appearance?
Yes and no.
Okay, no,
Both
I did not.
Stan and Jack. The scene where they're getting ready to get out to the disturbance, because they interrupt the thing, and they're going through the stuff, and you're seeing all the different people react to them as they're going by. There's two gentlemen that get up out of a seat and look out the thing and goes, oh, well, that's really interesting. And if you look, it's Jack Kirby's art on a drafting board, and it's both him and Stan.
Wow.
I caught that today.
See, I didn't even get that.
I didn't get that.
Mine was different. Wow.
Yeah. And like I said, it's within the first 15, 20. It's right before so Surfer shows up. So it's literally probably a minute before that.
Wow. It's interesting, though. Stan Lee scripted the Fantastic Four, while Jack Kirby brought to life the visions of Fantastic Four.
Did anyone catch the name of the spaceship, Fantastic Four spaceship? Excelsior. That was the name of the... It's like, come on, man.
I missed a lot of things. Daggone. I need to go back and see it again. That's why I always see it twice.
Excelsior was at the end of the montage where they were all saying thank you, Fantastic Four. And when they finally pulled out, I was expecting them to just throw Stan Lee's voice in there saying Excelsior, but they didn't. So that's where I was expecting it. And then when he showed up in person, they had younger versions of them from the 60s. Basically had CGI versions of them. And like I said, it warmed my heart. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm sold on this movie.
Yeah, that was a nice homage, because that was about the time, around the early 60s was when Marvel began. It transitioned from then Timely Comics to Marvel Comics. Goodman was a huge part of that transition. Goodman was one of the main executive directors over Timely Comics, who helped Stan Lee go from literally serving coffee and changing out the inkwells to the artists. Stan Lee was basically a busboy at Timely Comics to, full-on scriptwriter and author. But I love everything that you just picked up, Jeremy. See, that's why I need to go see the movie twice on the weekends, because the first time I'm just overwhelmed. The second time I try to pick up all the little things, and I didn't get that second time. This time
I was trying to find billboards, everything. I'm like, where? What are they spoiling?
Yeah, and it did harken back to that old 60s style TV genre a little bit. That I don't know if you've ever seen like an episode of I Dream of Jeannie, or you know what I mean. It's kind of got that like they call it the Atomic Family vibe. Does that make sense? Because if you ever watched like I Dream of Jeannie, of course, the Larry Hagman plays a NASA guy. He's a pilot, and so it's got that whole vibe to it. It kind of takes you back to that early era of like television, almost like the first couple episodes of WandaVision in a way. And it's hearkening back, and I grew up on that kind of stuff. And so they're tapping into my heartstrings very early on. And then the soundtrack it was just, with every scene and every frame was just beautifully orchestrated and intricately woven into a way that just, I don't think I've seen a movie done quite like that since Interstellar or something that Christopher Nolan has done. It was just really well done. And I think for me, just knowing what is coming, Silver Surfer and Galactus and the whole battle, and realizing the fact that the trailers only released the first 30 minutes of the film, And, literally within the first 20 minutes of the film, you've basically seen the whole trailer. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? And you see a couple scenes from the end that are in the trailer, but the bulk of the trailers are the first 20, 25 minutes or whatever. And then when you see the beautiful CGI of Julia Garner and how reflective and how good, and her eyes, her pupils are even silver. It was the attention to detail, again, it just blew me away. I don't think there was any CGI flops in the entire film. I did think that Galactus walked kind of weird. Maybe, I don't know if you guys felt that. Maybe because he's a 200-foot tall being walking in Manhattan. I don't know. But we'll get down into that road. Austin, what was some of the things that stood out positively on your spectrum? Now let's talk big movie picture, the whole 2 hours and 8 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, positively, obviously the first 30 minutes were incredible, and then just I think it's.
Did you guys see who's in chat? Did you see who's in chat right quick?
No, who's there?
Ooh, look who's in chat.
Let's see.
You got to see. Before I didn't mean to interrupt your thought, but it just kind of trained.
Oh, what this?
I know, Mike.
Hey,
Mike. PopX veteran streamer. My God, you need to get
Mike.
He needs to get his setup here so we can have the fourth guy in the window down here. All right, so big movie picture. What are some of your takeaways? What are some things that just wowed you?
Hi, Mike. I love you. I thought it was so funny, Joe. You mentioned Interstellar because that second act really does. It goes from, we're kind of building this movie up, and then boom. We're off to space. We've got to save the world. Obviously, the Sue and Reed having the child, kind of resonates with me because I'm coming off of one and going into another one. So that elevated the movie. But then they raised the stakes even more by having to go out and try to confront Galactus. And it's funny. One of my movie buddies that I talked to after the movie, his fiance was there, and she is a space connoisseur.
Okay.
She loves. She had a NASA shirt on. She told me that is, other than Interstellar, the most realistic depiction that she has ever seen in a movie of a black hole and of that part of space. She said that's the most real it's ever felt. That is so accurate. And she, not to slight Superman, but she compared it to Superman. Like, that was fun, entertaining, wasn't very realistic. She said this is what NASA would say a black hole and that entire sequence looks like. And so that kind of like, that's kind of like Interstellar. So that second act, man, and we'll talk about the third act later with the giant battle of Galactus, but that second act went full sci-fi and I loved it.
It's really interesting. I was sitting in the theater and I was talking to Alex and I was like, and she looked at me, she's like, you know when they like docked with their like, what do they call that docking thing? That they went into the black hole with. I can't remember what that dock thing was for the spaceship, for the Excelsior. Mm-hmm. But Alex looked at me. She's like, "Oh my God!" When the black hole was coming, she's like, "Oh my God!" It's like Interstellar, which is our favorite movie of all time. If Joe and Alex Burke had a favorite movie that we could sit down any day of the week and watch, it is Interstellar. And she was like, "Oh my God, this is so beautiful." That's what she said.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And it's just like, and I love the fact that your friend was it his girlfriend,
his
or fiance?
Yeah.
She picked up on it right away. And it somebody who created that sequence is probably a Christopher Nolan or Carl Sagan fan. And to some extent, you know what I'm saying? So that's great, man. That's great. Was there any other takeaways that you had, Austin?
Well, just to talk about Galactus in general, I mean, I think part of me wanted, and not to get into the negatives yet, but part of me wanted to see a little more from him in terms of scale, what he can do. I feel like they're saving that for later. But what we got, and especially when Sue went full, they say, mom mode, dad mode, like, mom strength. That's what it was. She used her mom strength to save her child. I thought that was so beautiful. And some people online are complaining, like, I get it. Is Sue Storm really as powerful as Galactus? No. But when you are a mother and you see your child about to be taken from you, you're going to do whatever it takes. And so to see her face, and it literally killed her.
Yeah.
To do what she did. She died.
It killed her.
Okay?
Yeah.
She died. And so that was like, holy crap. That was awesome.
It was intense. It was intense.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there in the theater in that scene, and I know we're kind of fast forwarding a little bit, but I kind of felt myself starting to kind of well up a little bit. I'm like, that's an unexpected
Movie had
emotion.
me a couple times.
Yeah, I was like, that's an unexpected emotion that I didn't really foresee coming out of out of the depths of a Marvel. I mean, Marvel hasn't made me cry in a long time since Robert Downey Jr. did the snap. That was probably the last time I cried in cinema, to be honest. Oh no, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Ant-Man.
Oh yeah. Oh,
when all three of them
Tears of joy.
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
That was yeah. When all three of them are on the roof giving Toby the Tom Holland rather giving him the
I love you guys.
I love you guys. So Jeremy, what were some, big picture takeaways that just really spoke and resonated with you?
Following up on the Galactus thing,
Okay.
he does have different power levels. So obviously when he has eaten, he's at his full strength. He is hungry at this point in the movie. Yeah. He's at his weakest. He had also had several ports of his back where he let some of his stuff out. So he was even weaker by the time Sue got to him. So a lot of people saying that Sue couldn't do what she did. Yeah, she totally could at that point. Could she have done it against a full-blown Galactus? No. But, and again, the mom, still kicked in. Second takeaway that I have is when they were scanning for the baby, obviously it came out as everything completely natural and whatnot. Obviously they went into space, so could have gotten some cosmic stuff that way. But on top of that, right before they jumped to jump, she was reaching into the stomach. So what's to say that some of her power from the Silver Surfer didn't transmit into the baby at that point?
That was an interesting scene because she was literally touching the Franklin's face in the womb of Sue, which was just crazy. Another scene that was just, holy cow, that was...
Yeah, it's like I said, CG didn't mess on that one.
And that one scene too, and I'm not going to steal your thunder here, but talking about, looking into the belly of Sue, the one scene where, Reed is doing everything he can to make sure the child is okay, and then she says, fine, I'll show you. And then she decloaks her invisibility, and you can see the child and in the womb.
Oh,
I'm just I was like, dang, Marvel. Pulling on the strings, man.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, really good stuff. Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
My final thing that I kind of wanted to point out and throw out there is looking at the aesthetic and looking at everything that they had set-wise. I'm calling it right now, there's a connection between this universe and the TVA. Because it was all set the same colors as the TVA, the same type of retro... so
that's a good connection, actually.
If we go into comics, not the movie so far, Kang is a descendant of Reed Richards.
Yep.
So if he started the TVA, he's using Reed's technology basically to start the TVA. So whether or not Reed has something to do with it, but yeah, it's. I think there will be a connection there.
Yeah, I'm probably going to clip that and put that on TikTok later tonight, Jeremy.
That's quite all right. That's because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, wow, this is very TVA.
Yeah, you're right though. With the tube style TVs the TVA has, and then the TVAs has got that retro '60s
and the technology when they would show on the screen with it was all TVA.
Yeah, interesting.
And that had to have been done on purpose.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah. Everything has a meaning and a purpose, but that is a beautiful connection with the tie-in with Kang. It's just. When we know that Jonathan Majors was recast after being let go for Kang the Conqueror. So, and he will be coming back in Avengers Doomsday in some fashion. Maybe we will see that play out, Jeremy, on screen, what you just talked about and elaborated about.
Yeah.
You'll have the Doom, Kang, Reed Richards, Franklin. Yeah. You'll have that whole gambit of power going on there in that scene.
We should have the Molecule Man show up at that point.
Molecule Man, Wonder Man is coming. But I think looking at the whole scope of the film and big picture, I think aesthetically it's something that we as the fans of Marvel have never seen, and I think that's one thing that will continue to resonate And, you know, I will go out on a limb to say this might be one of the best films to release in the MCU since Avengers Endgame. Now,
yes,
I that is a huge statement because we've had some bangers. We've had Thunderbolts, we've had Brave New World, and we had a couple other things kind of thrown in there, but we don't even talk Sonyverse. But it's Craven. But anyway, I think honestly though, well, with the exception of Spider-Man No Way Home, I think that's the only exception.
Guardians 3.
Guardians 3. Yeah, that's a good call too. So there's been a couple of hitters since Endgame, but I think aesthetically going forward, this is the trajectory that we need to go, just to get away from the whole James Gunn verse, the whole, you know, So we've talked pretty much about some of our favorite things. We talked about the score. We've talked about the Art Deco dynamic of the '60s and how it's just visually stunning. Let's talk about some of the things we didn't like. And I got to be honest, there's only a couple things, and I want to lead this one out, and then we'll go me, Jeremy, then Austin on this phase of the film. We're talking the entirety of the film here. I think for me, a couple of the things that I didn't like was it felt like it was a little rushed. And I've not seen your review yet, Austin, on YouTube. I was going to actually tackle that later tonight. But for me, the one thing I noticed is like, all right, so there's a threat in on Earth. Boom, we're automatically and facing Galactus, and I'm like, whoa, this all happened in a period of like less than 10 minutes. Can we just like, you know, there's got to be some preparation, some planning, and some things, but no, it was just straight. And I mean, I'm okay with that because, you know, you do some people, some directors don't want to show the journey it takes to get there, but then some people, you know, like Christopher Nolan, that's part of the journey, that's part of the process, is showing the longevity of the film. And I understand that they wanted to keep this in a timely film and not like a 3-hour endeavor, which it easily could have been. That would be the only thing. There were segments that felt very rushed. Like, all right, here it is, the battle. Here he is. All right, so how the heck did you know, Galactus arrived at Earth, and it's just boom, you know, oh, he's passing Jupiter, he's passing Mars, now he's at the moon, and boom, now he's walking in Manhattan. It just felt, that whole thing was just like boom, 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 boom. It's just way too quick for my brain. And the other thing too, I think they tried, since Galactus is such a huge being walking on Earth, it felt like he was a robot at times. Like his legs were almost looking like AI legs. You know, like, you know what I mean? It didn't look... I mean, if you're looking at it at face value, it looked great. But if you're looking at it in terms of motion capture, it didn't... I don't know. It's something looked wonky about his walking through Manhattan. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm not going to sit here and pick apart and say that's the only, you know, that's going to be the decisive thing that Joe hates Fantastic Four. No. You're getting me all wrong. I'm just saying.
He was no guy in a rubber suit.
It wasn't. Yeah. It was no guy doing motion capture. That was a full-on CGI character walking, and you could tell it by the, you know, just the way his legs were going, and it was just like, okay, that's weird. But it only happened in just like 2 or 3 scenes. Just really so quick most people wouldn't even pay attention to it. But that was my only 2 gripes. That was my only 2 gripes about the film. I really liked how he was defeated. I thought it was a very smart compromise on the fact of, you know, doing what they did to just get him out of the universe. I thought that was great. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to face him at some point. Because even if he's in another realm, he's going to come back because he's Galactus. So that's my spiel. Jeremy, was there anything that just kind of like, nah, on your end?
Because I didn't catch her character name, I don't believe it was Alicia, the character that Ben was involved with. Not involved with. I think it was a different name. And so, like, the only girl that I can ever think of him being involved with is the Puppet Master's daughter, which was supposed to be blind, and she was certainly not blind. And so, like I said, until I figure out who this character is or whatnot, that kind of threw me out of the thing a little bit, because I was expecting that character, and it wasn't. So I was like, okay, so that kind of threw me out of the story a little bit. That little subplot. It didn't seem to have anything to do with this. But again, we have future films.
Are we talking about the character, the liaison that worked with the Fantastic Four?
No, the redhead that was with the kids when she was like, "Hey, maybe you can come inside."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than just showing a human side of Ben.
Natasha.
Yeah, I couldn't think of her name. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like I said, if she would have been, then again, maybe she's using a pseudonym so that people don't know that she's Puppet Master's, But again, she's not blind, so that's why I was like, ah.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this, Jeremy. That, from what I have heard, that is a brand new character for this movie. So she's not in the comics. That's why I think Shackman said that. The director in one of his interviews.
Okay.
Yeah, because the only other character I could think of that he's kind of been involved with over the years is a girl named Sharon something that becomes a female version of him. But again, that's not her either. So I liked the character. I just didn't. It just took me out of that.
Yeah, and another character too, Sarah Niles' character. Sarah Niles was, I guess, the reporter liaison to the Fantastic Four, and she had a few scenes as well. But was her character necessary in the film?
Underdeveloped.
Underdeveloped. Yeah.
Where even in Thunderbolts, their liaison character, whatever, was a little more developed, and we know where she's gonna probably end up. So it was more of a spoiler, or not a spoiler, but a teaser. Whereas either of these characters, that's the only issue is that with this being already threaded with so many different characters.
Now Sarah Niles, she's in the TVA, right? She's the one that's in. Is she the one that's in?
I don't know.
I don't.
So. Maybe I'm reaching on that. I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
But yeah,
they could do that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could easily. Anything else you got, Jabber?
That I felt wrong about the film? Not really.
Okay.
Other than them just straight up stealing Grogu's carriage to move the baby around in, because that was totally.
Yeah.
I seen him put it in there. I was like, what is he doing? That's his other movie.
That's what it was. The whole time I'm like, what does that look like?
It's Grogu's carriage.
The Grogu's.
That's funny.
Yep.
Burke, Austin, what were some things that I don't want to make you rehash your whole review, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I'm with Jeremy. There were a couple characters that I thought, here's my biggest issue with the movie. It's too short. And I know that's not often a criticism we use, but I think it could have used 15 to 20 more minutes to develop some of those characters. I like the idea of giving Ben a love interest, but there's 2 scenes with her, and so it's almost like it didn't need to be in there, so why do it? And then I just feel, and you're rushing to get to that Galactus thing. And I feel like even that moved fairly quick. And so I actually went back and rewatched the trailers. Not the first one, but the second trailer. There is a ton of footage that's not in the movie.
Really?
A whole spiel by Sue that's not in the film. A ton of clips of Ben. I think there was a whole subplot with Ben missing, because Ben's in a different outfit in one of these clips. And I'm like, he wasn't in that outfit in the whole movie. And so from what I can understand, I looked into it, there's a lot of footage missing because they wanted to get this thing under 2 hours, which I still think they did an awesome job with what they did, but you can kind of feel that it does kind of rush through some of these moments.
That was my takeaway as well. Yeah.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes.
The CGI baby. I hated it.
I wasn't a fan. Some scenes it was real, some scenes it wasn't.
Some scenes it looked great.
Yep.
It was the American Sniper thing all over again, except that was a baby doll. This is a CGI baby.
Yeah.
When it was great, it was great. And I think a lot of the scenes were when it was close to the thing, and so you got CGI on CGI in front of a real background, so it just looked off. But when the baby's moving, I'm just like, I can't. That's PlayStation. I can't do it.
This PlayStation.
And so that's the only CGI that took me, and it's so minute, so it didn't kill me, but it was bad.
You can tell Franklin.
Bad.
You could pick up on it immediately. And I couldn't tell, was that a real baby in the movie, or was it just a?
Sometimes it was, and I'll give him a little bit of slack though, because I think with the rules you can only use an actual child so much during filming, and so they almost have to make it CGI at some points. But what was real was an actual baby, and so those scenes looked great.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that though. But you could definitely tell there was something a little wonky there going on. All right, so let's talk Galactus. Ralph Ineson has this is not his first time in the MCU. Did you guys know that?
I didn't know that.
He was a Ravager in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So somewhere along the way, Quill has destroyed this Ravager who has fallen into the depths of nowhere and has become the celestial being that's lived for billions of years, known as Galactus. That was my takeaway.
Quill. Frickin' Quill.
That's amazing.
Frickin' Peter Quill.
Peter.
Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Peter. I'm not going to say it. Peter. I'm not going to say it off. Peter. Giggity. So let's talk Galactus. I think the whole visual aesthetic was just amazing. The mechanical look of his outfit, right down to those like lava things that were connected to his back, giving him energy, fueling him directly from the melting planets that he's devouring. I think they got that right. This giant mechanical thing that I don't even know how to begin to explain what it is, but it's comic accurate. I can tell you that much. That's what he lives in, is this giant machine that devours planets from the inside out, from the core. And as the planet is melting, it is literally refined and going directly into his body, feeding him directly. So this whole housing and machine, I was like, I hope they get this right. I hope they get this right, and they did. So I'm happy. I'm happy. I think the voice and the actor casting, probably some of the best decisions that Marvel's made in terms of for Galactus. I think Ralph Ineson's deep voice. There was a couple scenes when he first spoke in IMAX in the theater, and I literally felt my loins jiggling. I was like, "What is going on here?" It was just something you did not expect. But the actor from Game of Thrones. I mean, the dude has his depth of his voice is something that you would definitely want in a movie like this, and I think that's why he was typecast for Galactus. Spot on. And aside from the scenes of the wonky walking and stuff, I think the battle itself was just pretty crazy. It was like 30 minutes of him in New York just destroying and smelling the soil, and every time he would look, the lasers would just scan the earth, and then when he got really mad, his eyes just illuminated, and he's coming for you. And it was menacing. It was menacing. I don't think anybody that's watched a Marvel movie, with even Thanos, I don't think was that level of menacing. He had the Infinity Stones and everything, but it scared the crap out of me. I was like, holy cow, they made him godlike. And then, of course, that's what he considers himself. So that was definitely, for me, I think the battle was great. I think it was a cheap out on the way they just created a mini black hole and just shoved him through it. And just to get rid of him, because you can't really kill Galactus. You can't really do that, and I think it was great. One of the most, I think, pivotal scenes, we kept building up that Johnny was somehow going to sacrifice himself. He started it out early in the film. He's like, I'm willing to die. I'm willing to do it. And right at the very end, he was willing to be the last push to push Galactus into this black hole to save Earth. And then right at the last minute, Shia LaBeouf came in, and the Silver Surfer, it just was that last cosmic push to get him into the portal, and I think that was a great way out. Austin, you got any comments on Galactus and the climax of the film?
Oh, lots of climaxing happening in that theater when he was on screen. Let me tell you, this was I saw him in a movie called The Green Knight, which was, I'm sorry, I got to keep these things in my head. The Green Knight.
Which one?
Was the first time I had heard his voice, because I had heard it before in The Witch and a couple other movies, but I heard it and said, who should he play?
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be a villain. And lo and behold, Marvel goes and gets that guy for the biggest and arguably the baddest villain of all. Because, look, Thanos was, I would say, a better villain overall, because obviously he's the main threat of the MCU. They did a lot of building up. But in terms of who's the biggest and who's the baddest, it's the guy that eats planets. And the crap that we got in Rise of the Silver Surfer, which, I have nostalgia for those movies, but let's get this straight. Yeah. I mean, that version of Galactus is literally poop, because it's a poop cloud.
He's a poop cloud.
To go from, they turned him into a poop cloud. And so to go from that to Ralph Ineson and that voice and that mantra and what do the kids say? Aura? The boy had aura? Oh.
He had some riz.
Aura, Joe.
He had some riz.
Oh, so much riz. And what's another
Skibbity.
One? Cream. That's not one. Skibbity.
He had some
he
skibbity.
Could skibbity my toilet any day. Oh, God.
Speaking of skibbity, Jer Bear, what you thinking of Galactus in that last battle scene?
I was so happy that they stayed faithful to Kirby. I mean, it was I seen him and just all the machinery just was Kirby rich. I was like, thank you. Because even when they did the Celestials, they were pretty close to Kirby stuff. I mean, you couldn't get beyond his work there.
The movie sucked, Eternals, but
but the design stayed true to it. Really, like I said, outside of just a little bit of fact that he's CGI, he's not a real person walking through.
Yeah.
It almost did in a few scenes, like where they're showing his feet shuffle across the ground. It did almost look like a miniature set where if the person walking through, because like the
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
A little bit. It did have a little bit of Stay Puft there. Overall, I was very happy to see this version of him. It's long coming, and I'm glad we got it finally plastered on the screen.
And I think something that all three of us could probably agree on. This is probably the most accurate comic adaptation of a Marvel IP that we've seen in a long time on screen. No characters have been altered, because you watch like Thunderbolts, or you watch you got all these like side characters and stuff like that, and they're introduced. What was the one that just came out? Ironheart. Just kind of what they did to some of those characters. Like, I'm like, that's not what they look like in the comics. What are you doing? And it's just like, they didn't do that here. They stayed true to Kirby's Bible. Kirby's Bible was relevant in this whole movie, and I loved that. It just screamed Marvel. Let's talk about Franklin Richards. Let's talk about Frank, the child of Reed and Sue. It was hinted in the movie that he has some sort of extraordinary powers, and as we see the death of Sue, he somehow touches her around the chest, and she breathes back to life. And it's not really expanded on the culmination of what the powers are that he has, but I'm going to read to you something. This is straight from the Marvel Bible. He has basically can manipulate reality. Is his biggest one. And knowing what we know in Avengers Doomsday, and knowing that RDJ at the end post-credit scene talking to Franklin, will the reality bending take place in Avengers Doomsday, and will both universes come to a convergence? So that's a big thing. Also, too, he has psionic abilities, which means he can project himself into other people's minds. And he's been depicted as a child. He's been kind of a novice superhero, but basically he's been supporting the Fantastic Four. But there is a story arc where Dr. Doom brings in Franklin Richards to help him build Latervia. Now, did you guys notice in the movie when they have the big congressional meeting of all the countries represented, there's no person sitting in the seat for Latveria.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who the king is of Latveria? Latveria.
Yeah.
Do you know who the king is?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And I love the
Dr.
fact that
Doom.
he's just, the idea of him just like, I don't need to go to that. I'm just like, that's his character. They've already nailed it, not even on screen at that point.
Not even
it's
on
so
screen.
Good.
And
it's so good.
Immediately, it was so quick, so subtle, but foreshadowing. And I'm like, he's coming. Get ready. And I'm so excited. And if you guys have not been following RDJ on Instagram, he's been posting from the sets overseas in Europe. They're filming right now at London Pinewood. And so they are filming in Doomsday as we speak for December 2026. So, but I just wanted to say that Franklin Richards has some very extraordinary powers to be able to project consciousness, to be able to bend and manipulate realities at his will. What the scope of those stories are. If you guys have read The Secret Wars, the second version that came out in 2016, Marvel did a 12-part series. You can get it on Marvel.com for like $9.99 as the digital version. But Franklin Richards is kind of like one of the seats of Doctor Doom's main, what do you call it? His right-hand man, basically. And he's using Franklin Richards to manipulate and somehow get Reed and Sue involved, where Reed is unwillingly want to work for Doctor Doom, but he has no choice. And it's really, and they call him God Doom because his armor is completely titanium with a white cloak instead of the green cloak. You not want to check into it, and I think they may be tapping into a little bit of that Secret Wars, that Doomsday storyline that just came out about 6 years ago. Definitely check it out on Marvel. With all of that said, is there anything that we're missing? We got the post-credits scene where obviously, you know, Doom is reaching down, talking to Franklin. Everybody's back. The team is reassembled. They're ready. They got their gear back, and everything is good. All members made it out of the battle alive. Galactus is gone. Silver Surfer sacrificed herself to save Earth. She had a heart of compassion. That pretty much sums up everything. I think. Is there anything I'm missing, guys?
I really enjoyed that it wasn't just straightforward flying, that she actually surfed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
in a lot of different scenes, and it made the character to me a little more appealing than just Norm Rad. I liked that they're already showing Sue's soft side for villains by having her work with Mole Man, which might be a future setup for when they introduce her and Namor together, if they go that route. But there's always a 3 chemistry thing between Namor.
Technically, isn't Franklin Namor's son? In the comics? I don't know.
In the comics, I believe there's something with the lineage that's off there.
Yeah, there's a subplot there. Maybe it's another child. Maybe it's not Franklin.
Might be Valeria.
But anywho,
maybe.
We need to give guys in the chat and everybody that's still with us. We want to hear your score. We want to give our score as we talk, and we should kind of wrap up this show on the Fantastic Four First Steps. It's been, I think, all in all for me, it was just the movie that Marvel needed. There was a couple of little things I think that were quirks, but I think I can look beyond those quirks and see the finality and the scope of what Marvel created, which is something totally so new and so fresh that I think it's going to have Marvel fans super excited for when the Russo's brothers come back next year for Doomsday. I think it's going to create the hype. We may even get in-game kind of hype because there's so much going on between now and then. We're getting a Daredevil series, a Punisher series, a Wonder Boy series. There's so many great little things that's going to be in the next year. We have Spider-Man 4 hitting the theaters, which is rumored to have Daredevil, the Hulk, and Punisher in it. And Kevin Feige has went on to say that he's doing low-level crime no more, cosmic crime. Yeah. And so he's going to be dealing with street level. Maybe we'll get an Octavius or Scorpion or some kind of really cool storyline from that as well. But I'm going to start out. My first initial thought when I came out of the theaters, I said an 80. I want to say 88%. And I think it is high, but I think for me, from my perspective, and I'm no certified film critic, but I think it just kind of fired. I think 9 of the 10 cylinders that I was looking for, it checked all of those boxes. And with the exception of those little nuances we talked about 10 minutes ago, that's it for me. I saw 88%. Austin Burke.
Shout out to Mole Man, by the way. The actor Paul Walter Hauser. I've had a conversation with that guy before, so it was pretty cool to see him in that movie. Also, I want to shout out the score. It's some of the best music we've ever heard in the MCU, and I've got a theory I'll throw out here in a second after we're wrapping up scores. But I'm going to go in 83. This is, like Superman, firmly in my top 10 of the year. I feel like both of these movies could go up their respective DC MCU lists, and the fact that they're both this good and the fact that they're both doing so well for themselves, I feel like superhero movies are riding high right now, and I love it. I love to feel that.
That's awesome. And Jeremy?
I walked out just, 6 hours ago, and I thought it was... Yeah, like I said, not too long ago. I wouldn't rank it in my top 5 of Marvel films yet, but I would give it an 85.
Yeah.
But like I said, I give it course to go ahead and go up with a future viewing and whatnot.
Austin was 83. Was it 83, Austin? So 83, 85, 88. And then Mike down in the chat, he went with a 90. He said EMB needed more screen time other than throwback footage. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Mike.
I agree.
And Scotty gave it a 4 out of 5. John Parfenbarger says that he went 80%. Darth Baca went with a 9 out of 10. You guys are just awesome. Look at the ratings. Look, everybody's in the high 80s percentile. Like if you were to take an average, it would probably be like 88% of everybody's score combined. That's pretty good across the board, guys.
That's great.
Yeah.
But from all of us here at Pop, man, it was just a great episode. Austin, you said you had something you wanted to share really quick, too. Yeah.
Yeah, so they said they're rebooting the MCU after Secret Wars. Feige's already went on record and said it's going to be a soft reboot. For a soft reboot, I still think they're going to include Fantastic Four, maybe some of the X-Men that they establish here in a couple of years. I think they should soft reboot this in Fantastic Four's universe. And by doing that, maybe Fantastic Four leave their world to go fight with the Avengers in Doomsday. Maybe they come back and there are other superheroes, such as your invincible Iron Man, such as your spectacular Spider-Man, new versions of these heroes, and then some that may carry over with the same actors because it is the multiverse. And so I think the best way to reboot the MCU, to set it on this retro, stylistic, new age world and do it all just a little differently, I think that would be phenomenal. And
really,
so that's what I hope they do.
Talking about that, Austin, let's talk about the end of Thunderbolts really quick, the end-scene credit, post-screen. Why is the Excelsior in Earth 616? Because what you predicted didn't happen.
No. Not at all.
So
it was actually kind of the opposite. Their world is thriving now that now that Galactus is gone.
So something is going to happen for the Excelsior to enter Earth 616. By the way, 828 is a nod to Jack Kirby's birthday.
I was wondering what that universe was.
Yeah, or 828. So it's August the 28th was Kirby's birthday, and they gave him that. But I love your idea. Yeah, I agree with that, John Poffenberger. I think it will happen. John down there chiming in. Guys, any closing thoughts on the Fantastic Four first steps? Anybody got anything you want to say in closing? All right. Well, with that said, guys, I appreciate Austin and Jeremy for joining me tonight here on another PopXcast 152. Going to be gone for a couple of weeks, but we're going to be coming back in the weeks ahead, so make sure you follow. Hit on the subscribe button, click on that notification bell, so when we schedule out a show, you will know when and where, and you will know when to attend and watch it live. I also want to remind everybody, if you are a podcast person and you don't really partake of the video, we do have the audio version going out to all your major source feeds. We have, I think, 28 different podcast platforms that reshare the PopX, and we also have the audio version now on our YouTube. So when we submit the podcast to Podbean, YouTube will automatically create the audio version of episode 152 once it renders. So retro rewind is what John Poffenbarger wants. We will try to squeeze it in. It's been a while. I think the last retro rewind we did was when Lindsay was with us. So we got to figure that out.
Correct.
But from all of us here at PopXcast, thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading. And we'll see you soon. Make sure you go to Jeremy Stoltz Creations on Twitch, and make sure that you follow the Burkinator here on YouTube for all the movie reviews and much more. So we'll see you next time right here on PopXcast. Bye.
From everyone at PopXcast, thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that notification bell so you know when we go live next. Drop us an email, popxcast@gmail.com. Throw us up a like on Instagram and all those other social media outlets at PopXcast. Until next time.